go. I think we're live. Let me check the sound. Oh, my thing's for charging.
Canadian food?
Yes, Canadian.
What's Canadian food? Smells like
Indian food.
oh, Indian food.
Are you eating Indian food here by any chance?
No, I steamed some eggs.
You made some eggs?
Yeah, I steamed them. It's the first time. They're pretty good. Maybe that's just what my used gear smells like.
Like Indian food?
Yeah. Are we on?
We are on.
Head rush. Oh.
Head rush. I'm gonna move this back because the fan
Oh, you can hear it?
is like super loud.
I don't know why.
Sometimes it just happened there. Let's see, am I still? Hopefully, won't be as pronounced. Maybe I should move it down here. Let's see if I can do that. Further, see, it's a funny thing that happens, Kevin, is that the further you move something away from the phone, the less sound is picked up.
You should get one of those cooling pads. Like they have cooling pads where you can put it on and it'll help circulate air underneath it.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I wish my do. Sometimes you can do different things with your brightness. Where if you turn your brightness down, and then another one for keys.
Keys.
Interesting. All right. Anyway. The monos, the platas of the monos.
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing today?
I have 2 ways to get there, I think.
2 ways. Oh, you know what we
can't
gotta
see
do.
ourselves. I don't know.
You don't what? You don't need.
How am I supposed to know if we're doing it right?
All right.
Oh, there it goes. Man, that sure is bright.
Yes, that's the whole idea.
If
Here,
I
you know
s-
what I'll do?
If I stare at it, will I become smarter?
Yes, that's how it works. If you look into the light, Kevin.
I've been thinking about breathing more.
Breathing.
Yeah,
Breathing is also important
but like,
in life,
but more, you know?
but more than normally.
I feel
You're
like I
breathing
don't
more than
breathe
that?
enough. Like when I'm just sitting around
Yeah.
and then my brain shuts off because I'm not actually taking in any oxygen.
Because you're not breathing.
I think that's why I'm done. Yeah, because I'm not breathing enough. Because I feel really smart when I'm doing jiu-jitsu, right? And stuff is happening and I'm doing that stuff.
And you're breathing.
But I'm breathing hard when I do jiu-jitsu.
Is that better? You can see now
Yeah,
at
like
least.
that.
All right.
Right, but when I'm not doing jiu-jitsu,
What I need is a big boom pole that brings the mic overhead right here.
we can get a little clippy.
The lavs don't work as well.
The what?
Lav mics.
I don't know
That's what they're called. I don't know what it means either. They're just called lav mics.
Light.
Lavalier.
Lav.
It's not a.
Light
I don't-
advancing.
No, it's not. I don't know. It's. I think it sounds French to me. Lavalier is the full word. They just shorten it to lav.
That's weird. Can I worry you? We're gonna do it in mount.
In the mount?
It's the best way.
All right.
We could do it from like the omoplata setup, but omoplatas are stupid, so.
What are you talking about? I love omoplata. That's my favorite move.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It works.
Omoplatas don't work.
No,
Alright,
they
so,
totally work.
so step one, right? There are 2 ways we get through this, or get to it. We've got like this overhook kind of setup where we're coming into that, what'd you call it, a reverse half Nelson kind of deal?
I don't know.
And then there's also the one I like to do from S mount, which is kind of like they're both based on the premise that we're able to get under this person's arms, right? So again, if they're defending and doing stuff, right, we're gonna Ezekiel them until we can get their elbows.
Shoulder.
out of place.
Don't
There
work
we
too
go.
well.
Right? Remember, it doesn't have to be a real Ezekiel, right? Just grab your wrist and punch him in the throat, right? We don't have to actually use leverage. You just got to get him to react.
Just annoy me.
Yeah, you know, like, it doesn't have to be good. We're not expecting to finish it. If we can, great, but we just need his elbows up, right? So once that happens,
It's not going back.
right? And again, if it becomes too much, he's not really responding to your Ezekiel's, right? Just take your arm and scoop his face until he's back flat again, right? And then we want to get under the old elbows here, right? So for this one, all right, we're gonna again scoop the head. Let's rotate a little bit. All right, we're gonna scoop the head and anchor our head scoopy arm into his armpit here, right? Just to kind of keep us connected, right? And we won't be able to. I've got good pressure on his neck. I'm kind of cheating out to the side, so he's not going to be able to bridge and roll over to my left side, right? And then from here, we're going to start fighting to get this arm kind of out. And what I want is to be able to get this fist in to this armpit, right? So actually, ideally, what we want, we want this arm overhooked here, right? And then we're going to drive this knee up and kind of block this space off, right? Where we're pinching down with our elbow, or not our elbow, our ribs, and clamping onto this arm here. All right, but same thing, we're gonna keep this arm out, and I'm gonna start fishing this hand, this fist, under the armpit. All right, so once we have this, we can start using it to pull him onto the side, right? So we're just gonna boop, 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 right? Extend the arm until he's forced up, and we want this arm in our pocket here, right? I don't know if people can see. Go rotate a little bit. There we go. All right, so what I want is I want to step up to kind of put a kickstand behind him so he can't easily get his back flat to the floor, right? And we've got this arm dangling. It's available to attack here, right? We've got some good kimuras here. We can just grab the wrist and push. It's really not that complicated, but less fancy. So the monoplata is a very, very secure position. I like it. It's like the back control of shoulder locks, I think.
Can I add something here?
Yeah.
As to why that would not be so simple.
Yes.
Right, like this waving in the wind, right?
That's true.
Right. So I mean, the idea is like if you could do all that just so easily, why would you just do that? You wouldn't need to do a monoplata.
You could.
Right. But if the person just lifts the leg and hides the arm,
yes.
now that probably is not going to work as well.
But you're right. All that is correct. But yeah, if you see it, you can just push it, right? Honestly, even if you are grabbing here, I think we could scoop it and start attacking this.
Yeah, on
it
me.
kind of depends. Yeah.
But if I did this to you, I don't think I'd be able to take it out. I mean, right? Because then, yeah. See, now you're gonna, right? So that's how it all works, right? So
Let's rotate.
I just wanted to point that out because I was thinking the same thing. Like, if you could just do that,
Might as well.
just do it.
So
But now, do you want me to defend or you know?
You can defend however you want.
All right.
Right.
Not
so,
hard, but I mean, just do you want me to hide it or?
Yeah.
All right. Just
Right, so from here, right, again, we're like flat-footed here. My other knee, I actually drove it up and over his arm to help pin it here, right? And then the next step is I want to get this foot, this one, around his face, right? So this is hard. If I just try to do it here, right, oh, weight's weird. I mean, I could grab it, but
Are you afraid of being pushed back if you're like floating like that?
well, here, yeah, for sure. Right, so instead, what I think about is I take my hand, I find his face, I push it down, and I'm gonna lean and then throw it over, right? Again, just like anytime we have to move our legs, we wanna lean all of our weight onto the opposite leg. Now this is super easy to move. And we're just gonna dig this little guy under his face, right? And while I'm doing this, I wanna keep super low here. I don't wanna be up here, right? I need to keep something squishing his elbow to keep it in place. So I'm gonna keep my ribs down. You can also come down and like scoop the head, right?
That's unpleasant.
Just be very, very careful about, because we're gonna go to our butt, right? And we're gonna do it nice and slow. I wanna keep my hip like connected to his torso, right? But here's the dangerous part. Very, very dangerous. This leg here, right? We need to support it, right? Because if he decides to push up, right?
On the knee.
That's a lot of lateral pressure on the knee. No good, right? So what we don't want to do is like fall to this side, because then this person is going to start coming up and being crazy, right? And they might push into this knee. Happened to a buddy of mine. He was out for a long time. R.I.P. Derek Jones. Thank you for teaching this lesson so I didn't have to learn it.
Wait, did he die?
No, he just like blew out his knee. In a sense.
Okay.
Yeah, so just be very careful, right? Stay close. I like to keep an arm frame kind of pushing on my leg here. You can use your hands to stay attached, but don't let a person come into you here. We want to do this like very, very slow, very, very controlled. No added momentum if we can prevent it here. Right? So again, we're going up into our plata of mons. Right? We want to get this face out of the way right now. Right? Some people have trouble with this part, right? If he's tucking his head, it might be difficult. There's no room, right? So just go ahead and push his face out of the way. And then you can open up your knee a little bit, right? Put that in there, tuck it back in, right? That's nice. And now, stay low. We can scoop some heads here, right? We can start pinning this arm. But right, I don't want to fall to my butt. I want to descend, right? And then from here, right, I need to triangle my legs. Of course, not of course. Important is to make sure that our legs stay hidden under his armpit space, right? What I don't want is for him to start scooping up and go actually over the yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's a fail.
I don't want that.
I want that a lot. That would be very nice.
So one of my main priorities here, and it's not too hard to maintain, but you know, if you neglect it, they'll get out potentially. But we want to stay under this arm, and we can actually control this arm here, right? I like to bring it across his face because it's uncomfortable, right? And then from here, right, we're gonna do either the shoulder lock or the arm bar. There's an arm bar and a shoulder lock. Not with this arm, right? I suppose we just. Does this hurt?
It's not pleasant.
All right, anyway. So what we're actually focusing on is this inside arm that's in my hip. Two options are going to be the shoulder lock and the arm bar. Right? First shoulder lock is just I'm going to bring my knees up to the ceiling here. Right? That can be countered by the person on the inside like straightening his arm. So if I go here and he tries to fight it, then we can scoop underneath, set up our figure four. Oh, there it is. There's an arm bar here. All right. I also, a couple things about this position. Make sure you're close to your person here. Right? If I'm way far out here, I don't have control of his elbows out. Right? So this, I need to make sure that my body is at least above his elbow. Right? Second thing, don't come up on your hand like this, right? Same issue, we won't be able to pull his elbow out. Even if I'm close, he's gonna be able to start escaping things, right? Yeah. I wanna be up close, and honestly, if I can, I wanna go all the way with my little riblets down on his arm. Because now I'm like squishing it, and then I have good pressure here for the shoulder lock, right? And then I can come in here when I'm ready and start fishing out the arm bar, right? If he doesn't let you get the arm bar, you shoulder lock him, right? If he doesn't let you shoulder lock, you arm bar, right? So he's going to either be turning his thumb up or thumb down or whatever he is. So just go back and forth between both of those options here, right? And of course, we cannot forget, if you don't like your person that you're working or doing this on, right? We've got the what is this? The go-go platform, right? I can scoop his head and jam my shin into his throat all day long, and it's great. Right? What else am I forgetting? We'll just do that again, right? There's also, if he does throw this leg over, right? We also have the Cambodian clamshell. That's just a personal favorite.
But again, you have to keep this.
Yeah, super tight. And then it's just like a
What's the
shoulder.
mechanism there that you're doing?
It's a shoulder separation. I'm pinching
what are you doing
up
with
with
your
my
thumb?
knee, and this knee is going down, right? And then my ribs are helping kind of keep it just trapped, right? So I'm trying to, I don't want to pinch my knees. I want them to pass each other, right? Like scissors.
Scissors.
Yeah, not like a clamp.
Oh, well, they call it clamshell. They should have called it the Cambodian scissors.
Scissors.
Because clams don't do that.
Ooh, Sicilian scissor.
The Sicilian scissor. I like that. All right.
brought to you here by, I don't think as many people are gonna know. Oh, well, anyway.
Anyway,
So.
so
I've ever really camp booting clips out there.
first thing, right? We need to get this arm to the outside here, right? This happens a lot naturally when you're rolling with people not very good, and they start to clamp around your back, like they're gonna, I don't know, right? But they're giving you this option, right? Drive this knee up, and we can pin this arm to the ground, and then use this to start turning him onto his side. Great, so much easier than trying to fish it out, but you know, if you want to do this, you're gonna have to get this elbow into the old hip. All right, so once he is on his side, right, I'm gonna lean, put this in the face, right? Remember, don't like pull your legs where they can't go naturally. This is how you tear your own ACL, MCL, all the CLs. All right, so just, it should be able to do it without grabbing your own feet, right? Anything where you have to grab your shin and pull your foot where it can't go, don't do it. It's just not worth the risk. Anyway, so again, we're staying super low, right? I've got good base. I can control his head, right? If I'm a dick, I can just start trying to go for this Monoplata here. But usually, remember, what do they say? Position over submission, right? So we're gonna consolidate this. All right, we're going down, 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 down. As we go, I'm going to control this far arm and make sure I get my triangle hidden underneath. Right, I can hold on to this little guy, right, or just make sure that he can't swim underneath there, right? Yeah. And from here, I'm going to just take this little knee, I'm going to pull it towards the ceiling until something hurts, right? And if that doesn't work, I'm going to find his elbow, get my figure 4, make a little eye contact and finish it. There we go. The other option is to do this from S-mount, right? So S-mount being we're able to drive up with this kind of 90-degree angle. And again, we want to get this kind of locked in here behind us. Right now, oh wait, wrong one. I want to get this one. There we go. Now this, I want to get his arm here pinned to the floor, so I'm going to push this down and I can get it pinned. And now, again, I'm going to lean, get it over the face, get under the arm, nice little triangle, and I can do stuff here, however I want. Well, the two things. Cool.
So that one too,
Yeah, like
It's a tight shoulder there.
having the ribs down really helps a lot.
Super
Right?
nice.
Being on your elbow, it may feel a little bit easier. It's more comfortable, certainly.
It's more comfortable for me.
Yeah, it's more
There's
comfortable.
no pressure at all here. Yes, just that is.
Squeeze it.
If I can do it from S-mount. I think this is cool because S-mount, they always think you're going for the other one,
Which one?
right? So if you're S-mounted, right, so you go, like I'm gonna be worried about this one,
Yeah.
right? So if I'm defending that well,
Oh, I can still
You can still do it, yeah, 'cause I don't really have a base to stop you there.
I am worried here that you are underneath my legs. I'm not going to be able to secure the position, but I think
Might be able to.
might be able to do it.
Maybe.
I mean, what can you do really?
Not much. I don't like this. I mean, that's actually, yeah, what you just did there is much more effective than coming up.
It's rude.
When you turn, when you move, yeah, that's fine, I don't.
You don't mind?
But when you went your hip out to your right, yes, so now that hurts.
Your shoulder?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I was
So-
trying to squish your neck.
Yeah,
That's what I
I mean, that is like, so that's not a choke.
Yeah.
It's just annoying. But, so like, I think you're gonna find some people who are just like, they're gonna eat this.
Yeah.
Not pleasant, but when you scoot your hip out to your right, it actually starts to, I can really torque my shoulder.
So you're talking about
Yes.
scooting. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's just like a regular Monoplata, where where you scoot out to the side. You know what I mean?
And you could also do this from regular Monoplata. Can I use you?
No, you'll have to use somebody else.
I don't know who else you're gonna use, but not
I can
me.
use the dummy.
Well, I was gonna ask if you could get
Yeah. So
from the bottom.
from the omoplata position, right? Starting with our overhook here, scooting out, trying to get this foot on the hip, and I'm gonna throw this leg over here, right? So now I'm gonna work to my regular omoplata. The difference being, right, what I wanna do is I wanna catch this foot under his armpit here, right? So that's, I think the difference between regular omoplata and monoplata is
Because I put my hand out
inside
here.
space. Yeah, so if I can get this, now I can kind of,
This is awful. Yeah, now you're in that best position again.
it's great.
That's cool. Is there a way that you like, so, go back into the omoplata. Right, so if we're, sorry, you can go from here. We're here. Is there any way that you try to make the person to face out and put their hand out? Because otherwise, I mean, I would naturally put this here. You know what I mean? Because I feel from here, I'd be really worried about the triangle.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's just the natural thing is, so I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be holding here, not letting you have it. Right? And then is there any way that you,
I think it's
or
like,
you just try to, because there you just have in front of my face, which I think is also pretty nasty.
yeah, I
If you
think
can elevate
that's,
on the face.
that's an opportunity thing.
It's like if they put their hands up, maybe to post up and
Yeah.
waist and stand up.
I think being very assertive with trying to push their face to the floor will increase their likelihood of kind of reacting like that. But a good person is maybe like tapping the floor there to bring that arm back. It's just like an opening that happens when you're going after the omoplata. And if the opportunity happens, you take it.
Right.
But since that arm is so far away, I'm not really sure, like there's nothing that I do that is consistently able to pull that out. You can like think about controlling it with your bottom arm.
I find,
I have trouble making that work sometimes.
let's turn this way a little bit. There you
So I usually go up into this Williams guard and then we can
Yeah.
grab here and start controlling.
go. And once you get there. Yeah, so now you're already there. You have nice long legs.
Yeah.
Go back. That's pretty cool. I like the starting off because I'm gonna be, my big fear here is triangle. That's what I'm, that's my
someone
first,
throwing this
that's what I'm really nervous about, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I like you get the grip right away.
But this is still like, you know, you've already posted for me anyway, so like it's, if I.
Oh, but it's
get
hard.
this-
Go back to because it's a pretty cool, go back all the way back. So from this kind of Williams guard position, right, you've already got me down
Mhm.
because you have the collar tie,
Yeah.
right? And so,
And this like fist going in your neck,
Yeah.
and it's like a lot of good pressure. Anyway, sorry. Then yeah, this arm.
I mean, I think like sitting here right now, like this is suicide, right? That's suicide.
Yeah.
Put my hand on the floor.
Yeah.
You know, I'll see, like I feel better about keeping my elbow tight, you know what I mean? Here on the ground, because then you can't withdraw.
Yeah.
You know,
Catching my
you
knee
can't
here
get that
is-
knee out.
It's annoying.
It's super annoying, right? So we'll fight here, and then I'll try to get out that way. You know what I mean? Like, and now we're gonna start, working our way, putting our knee in there, the whole thing. That's kind of
Yeah.
the escape.
I think a good person is going to naturally hide that elbow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, don't expect it. I would still like go after that strong omoplata and really focus on controlling their posture and hitting them down. If you can get them to react.
I mean, what if you? Because I like to push, right? I like to frame really hard on the head.
When you're doing the
So that
omoplata?
makes the person kind of go out, because then it's hard for them to control your other leg. Like if you come in, right? If we're here, so because you're kind of holding me down, so then it's easy for me to stay down. You know what I mean? As opposed to if you push me away, right? If you push me away, then now I can't hold your I mean, I don't do this technique, but it just seems like I don't do almost like monoplatas or anything generally. But if you pull them down, they're going to stay kind of hunched down,
Yeah.
you know,
And they're like too close to
and they're kind of crunching you. And so you can go to the omoplata, which you hate,
Yeah.
right? But it's still going to be hard because that leg is trapped underneath,
Yes.
right?
Well, being able to, once I have this like, I don't know what it's called, this little Williams thing.
Yeah, this is cool.
Right? Because now I can
You
really.
can, yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
push
You
from
extend,
here.
like, so if you can extend here, yeah, now you can do all. See, and you already have the arm,
Yeah.
so that's pretty cool.
I wonder if we can go this way.
Oh, that's nasty.
Gross.
So that's pretty cool. Just thinking of ways to like, you're pre-positioning your leg before you're even going, so that it's like naturally falling into that position.
Yeah.
Instead of getting to the position and thinking, oh, now I'm gonna do monoplata, right? You know what I mean? It's
So
like,
you think
I'm already doing it.
Yeah.
You see
Yeah,
what I'm
because
saying?
like that foot is kind of already in.
Once I get my elbow back, it's going to be really hard to get it.
Yes.
Right.
But then that'll make you vulnerable to omoplatas.
Which you hate.
You're
You
not.
said omoplata is
I mean,
trash.
It is.
So
but-
you can't do it anymore because you hate it.
I mean, honestly, it's like a good person is, in my experience, once they are in that omoplata, they're gonna roll through, and they're
Yes.
just gonna get out of there. And try and
I mean, it depends on
depends
how
on
you,
the person.
it depends on who's doing it too, right? I mean, if it's one of those, I used to think that, you know, certain techniques were king and other techniques sucked.
Mm-hmm.
And in reality, what happens is if someone's really good at technique and that's their bread and butter.
Mm-hmm. But they
It's
might.
then-
But if they're only good at it because everyone else doesn't do it, and they can make it work because everyone else neglects it, does that make the technique itself valuable, or just in that environment?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's kind of an both. Thank you. Yeah, it both happens.
Yeah.
If you're really good at something, that's like I mean, there's certain things that, you know, like the
I was thinking Americana.
well, yeah, you don't see Americanas
That's the thing, but like,
very often.
But since I mean, I know as an instructor, I tend to neglect the Americana because I don't think it works. But I also noticed that a lot of like my students specifically, are vulnerable to, or were at one point before I started really focusing on it, like vulnerable to Americanas, right? Because like I didn't do them, and
So they didn't get any experience
they're not
defending them.
experienced. Yeah, and like
That's because you know what it is. It's that you don't have a group of white belts who just learn the Americana and are trying to constantly do it to each other.
yeah, like where
It's like headlocks, you know, like everyone knows a headlock. So if you have a bunch of white belts
yeah,
and they're all trying to headlock each other all the time, because that's the only thing they really know,
yeah.
then you're going to get pretty decent at headlock escapes. But if you're training with black belts all the time, those guys will probably never put you in a headlock,
Yeah.
right? Unless they're totally messing with you.
But like that's the thing. Like I found myself actually a couple weeks ago like putting someone in a headlock because I knew that that's not something that people around here do anymore. So it was just like
Anyway, no one does headlock. No one's like, the headlock is the go-to.
most people who consider themselves competent grapplers, like
Yeah.
they don't headlock people because that's
You're
what
taught
people
from
do.
day one not to
Yeah.
headlock.
So
right?
like, but at the same time, like, if that person isn't expecting it, then you might actually be able to pull something off with it because they're just not sharp on that defense. That's how I feel about omoplatas. Like, yeah, like if you're Clark Racy, you can hit an omoplata on whoever you want, but I would say across the board,
I think at Henzo's, I'm not sure that, well, I would say that finishing the omoplata
yes,
is one thing. Using the omoplata
Yeah.
is a whole other thing.
completely.
So,
I agree.
You know, like at Henzo's, people used the omoplata all the time. Maybe not to finish
Yes.
so much, unless you had some of these opportunistic things in there. But rather to change the position because
I agree.
the triangle's not available or, you know, something else, right?
Yeah.
So,
especially like people shutting down the triangle, and
Yeah.
you know, if you don't train that pathway of the triangle, people are going to use it against you. You know,
Yes.
you got to be ready and willing to at least try the omoplata, and that's something I didn't do as I came up, just personally.
I mean, it's always just like what you learn, what you're, you know,
Yeah.
what
What
you're
works.
exposed to. And so I'm trying to think of people where they're really good, people that had really good triangles at Enzo's for a long time. And you don't, I mean, Gordon Ryan just hits a triangle on, who was it, Bo Nickel, who's a wrestler,
Yeah.
right? But it's not, you don't see that many triangles. I'm trying to think how many triangles you actually see finished at all anymore.
Yeah. Unless
It's
you're
very, I mean, I won't say very,
Tenth Planet likes triangles a lot.
yeah, but they set up,
That system.
yeah, I mean, that's kind of, it's funny because they're kind of seen as a kind of new school, but in a lot of ways, some of the stuff is really old fashioned, like in
They're
terms of the
old
premise.
school.
They're old school.
They're old.
It's pretty crazy to think about it, right? Those guys used to be rebels and they're wearing their crazy rash guards, but
Yeah.
their style is actually, like, at its core, a pretty conservative style.
Yeah. I agree.
And like old school kind of, you know, finishing from it's very guard centric.
Mm-hmm.
You know, very much, you know, finishing, using your legs, using flexibility.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of interesting to think about them that way. And but yeah, so you know, triangles are not. I don't see them being used as like a really percentage finish.
I think at lower level competition, they're still really good. Like blue, purple, brown.
Really, who do you think is who hits triangles anymore? Who's like the triangle? When's the last time you saw a triangle used in high level black belt competition?
I don't know.
See, it's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, you can talk about a million guys that are good on leg locks and a million guys that are good on the back. You know,
Triangles are weird. It's just like
nobody even.
all
I
these
mean,
guard players, but no one plays
they
that
don't
style.
even play, they don't do that anymore. Guard players don't try to finish from inside the guard. They're usually trying to go to your back, right? You're doing a berimbolo,
But not the 10th Planet guys.
but
They're
not
all
10th
like,
Planet guys. Those guys will triangle your ass.
Yeah,
For
they're all
sure.
like about building up to the top of the shoulders and kind of weighing you down and then setting things up from there.
Anyway, I mean, it's just a digression, but I thought it was important just to, I used to feel this way about the Kimura, a long time ago, where it was like,
It's only for strong people.
thank you. Yeah, I mean, and then you see over time, you see how it's diversified. Like it's just become this all-purpose Swiss Army knife of a technique that you just see constantly everywhere. People using, even if it's not the finish,
To
it's
pass
everything. Yeah, I mean, so Americana, I don't know that will ever be. It will ever be, one of those things where it comes into vogue. I'm sure eventually someone will come in that's so good at Americana, but
Or like everyone in the community has been neglecting their Americana defense.
Yeah.
And one guy is the Americana.
it was Majid Haji was doing what are those
the baseball match.
the baseball bat choke, and
Yeah.
he tapped out a bunch of guys, and then everyone's like, okay, you can't let this guy have your collars and then think you're gonna pass.
Yeah.
But then he lasted. Not to say he's not good; he's really good. But
Everyone
like
fills the hole.
and on the competition circuit was like, I'm not letting. We're not gonna have that.
Yeah.
So the sneak attacks and the exploitation of whatever holes you see are only gonna last for so long until
Well, but
the internet finds you.
I think the Americana still has value in that it has
have to respect it.
predictable pathways.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's easy to escape, but you're gonna have to sacrifice something in order to make it. And if you, as the Americana are aware and prepared, you can take advantage of it.
That's true of like every submission.
Yeah. But what's nice about the Americana is usually everyone has been taught it, right? So they all have been taught, they're aware of it, and they study the defense. So you can it's one of the first really predictable responses that you can get from people.
Why do we teach the Americana? That's what
It's-
I wanna know.
You need to give white belts something to do from mount. Well, because there's really not that much else. You got the Americana.
We just did.
All of
the
those are
Monoplata.
transitions to other places.
Yeah.
Just mount's meant for hitting. It's not the best grappling
The
position.
mount is meant to take the back.
I agree.
Yeah.
And hitting. I mean, the first mount and back mount people, like the way they got there, they get to mount, they slap people
Yes.
until they, turn over.
Yes.
Mount is meant for hitting.
Yes.
That's why it's worth 4 points. If people didn't punch in fights, mount would be like, 2 points, maybe, if you get to mount.
Depends on, again, whose mount are you under?
Sure. Well, I think the invention of the S mount was significant in making mount a valuable place to be.
Making mount great again.
Yeah. Well, it's so symmetrical. I don't like it. Because the person is
Yeah.
strong.
They're super strong in there.
Versus like any other place, it's so much easier to kind of turn and find an angle to really like isolate an arm.
But the thing is too, is that with the mount, is that, well, in the gi it's different than no gi,
Yeah.
right? In the gi you have legitimate attacks. You can't just hang out down there thinking you're all strong. But even, without the gi, people instinctively want to get out of there. Like, cause they know, like even in your mind, maybe unconsciously,
It's a psychological.
the person, the times that people have panicked underneath me,
Yeah.
almost always and I haven't even been smashing them, it's just I'm on top of them.
Yeah.
Loose, and the few times that people have wigged out and tried to scratch me or poke my eyes or hit me or grab things, always from the mount position. It's a huge psychological, like, as an animal, I think are programmed to not like to have somebody on top of us right, in that position. And so maybe when you become more experienced in jiu-jitsu, you realize how to position yourself, how to remain calm, you know, with or without the gi, and so you're not panicking. But when someone's on top of you and they're holding you down and they're on top of your face, there is a panic mode that takes over.
Yeah.
I think like an older part of our brain that clicks on and says, you know, we cannot have this.
Yeah.
And you start to panic, and there's that drowning feeling. I think it's almost like you feel like you're drowning,
Yeah.
right? But you can't swim up. So then the person's going to react. So if you can instill that, that's like an old Wade Chalice. I told you, I've talked about this before, where Wade Chalice talks about having, like, pinning people requires more at a high level of wrestling than just trying to overpower their shoulders, right? You're just pinning their shoulders.
Are you talking about overpowering the mind?
Well, that's exactly what he talks about. He's like, you have to smother the person. You have to put your ribs on top of their face and cover their mouth and their nose so that they don't believe that they can breathe. And he says if you can instill that primal fear in your opponent, then they will do anything to escape.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes that's like not good, right? They're going to explode, but sometimes if you really do have a good position, and they will, in order to breathe again, they will submit essentially by putting their shoulders on the mat for you.
Yeah.
So, and you do the same thing, right?
I like
Smashing the face. And so that's a powerful, right? I mean, we don't talk about that as a usually in jiu-jitsu as a viable strategy, but it is. It is a very powerful means to get compliance out of your training partners.
When's the last time you freaked out with someone on top of you?
Like panic?
Like where you have to like calm yourself down and like tell yourself to breathe.
Probably, I don't know, I think, you know, maybe there was a huge guy. I think there was a huge guy at Henzo's that he's just giant dude. He was probably like 250 or something. I had taken a long break, and did I ever tell you that story? Or the guy, like I had taken 3 years off, and for various reasons, and then I went back in and started training again. I was terrible, right? I was just terrible, and so usually what happens at the end of class, you have, you know, there's 40 people in the room, 50 people in the room, and you have your friends and whatever, and you kind of hang out and train with your friends, whatever, or your regular training partners. But since I was like, I had been gone so long, like there were a lot of fresh faces, and then, you know, it's like one of those I don't know but like you look for a partner, and there's no partners, and then you turn around and your eyes meet, and this is like the biggest, by far the biggest dude in the room. He's this giant dude. And I was like, and it was my last roll.
Were you ranked at that time?
Yeah, I was.
Blue,
I was probably a brown belt. I think I was a brown belt at that point.
So it's like he has high expectations too.
I mean, and this guy, it's no joke. He's easily, and there was a lot of big guys. He was yoked. He wasn't fat. He was just like. It was in the afternoon class, so it was, I was even wearing my belt. You know, it wasn't even like you could hide, you know, in your no-gi, you don't have a belt, and we didn't have ranked rash guards or anything back then. And so I trained with this guy, and it's 6 6-minute rounds is what we do at Henzo's, at least what we do
With the
back
same
then.
guy?
No. So I did 5 rounds, and I kind of ducked everybody, and I was feeling pretty okay, but I was tired. And then I turned locked eyes with this dude, and I was like, and then the way it works also is that sometimes there were pillars. You guys can't see the pillars, but in the room here, but there are pillars in Henzo's at the basement, and so you can go behind a pillar, right, so that John can't see you, right? Because John is like a hawk, and like he'll see whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
So sometimes people they go behind if they want to hide or whatever, they just hide because they feel like they suck or whatever. So anyway, there's only one space on the mat. It was directly in front of John, and I was like,
this guy's gonna try real hard.
He's gonna try real hard. B, I'm tired and I'm out of shape and I suck, and he's just gonna kill me.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna be embarrassed in front of John for, you know, John's. And I'm thinking to myself at that moment, I'm probably just gonna hand my brown belt to John at that point and be like, I'm promoting myself, just to make it easy for you. And then anyway, so this guy proceeded to ragdoll me for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And part of that, one of the moments in that was when, I think he probably he didn't fully mount me, but he came very close to mounting me. I don't know that I panicked, but I think that was probably the last time that I thought, because you're tired. The guy's huge. I think he mounted me, and then either I was able to hip out and get him into like a single leg X, or I think maybe he went for an arm lock, like a sloppy arm lock or something like that, and I was able to get on top. But the long and short of it was at the very end, I managed to get him in a triangle with like 30 seconds to go. And it was not I mean, this guy, his shoulders, just think of the biggest person you've ever seen. That's what this guy looked like. I mean, his shoulders, I just like clamped on, and I locked. It was probably like this kind of lock, and I pulled his head, and I tapped him out with, but like the whole roll up to that point, basically what happened was he beat the shit out of me for 5.5 minutes until he got so tired. Like, it was not like I was doing well at all.
I love that strategy. It feels so good when it works.
It was not a strategy. It was like, can I survive? I mean, I think I went into it with the thinking of, okay, I can't get into a bad position, right? I just can't let this guy get me in a bad spot. But he was really strong. He was really strong, and really.
You just have to endure it, you know?
He just had his way with me for 5 minutes, and then I was able to get into that triangle, and that was it. And then at the very end, I got the nice job, Rich Jackson, from John, which I was like, and when he was laughing so hard, because I could see him watching me the whole time, getting my ass beat for 5.5 minutes.
Pull it out.
And then he was laughing. He was like, it wasn't like, oh yeah, good job, so impressive, you're the best. It was like, you got lucky, that guy got tired before he just managed to murder you. So anyway, that was probably the last time that I can recall being mounted. And I don't know that I panic, but it's like one of those feelings where you think it's over, like whatever is happening is like, that's over, like that roll is over because that guy is just gonna sit on top of you. But I don't think I panic there. But there were times when I was training with guys and I'd have to like calm myself a little bit, but I was never in a panic mode. There was one guy, there was a guy, he might even be watching, he's local, his name's Dorian. He's he's a half black belt, and he's a big guy. And so he's one of machine, they all work, they teach over at House and down the road a little bit. And Dorian's a big guy, he's, 230, 240. And I remember he used to get side control. It wasn't mount though. He would get side control, and he would do a good job putting his chest on your face. And I remember there was definitely some times I'd go and train there, and I'd be like, oh God, I gotta deal with the chest and the face deal. Because there was a moment where you can't breathe, and so I don't think it was panic either. I'm not gonna like claw and like panic, not like that. That's what I think about panic, where you're just like, you don't have any rational thinking anymore. When those situations happen to me, I'm just like, I can't breathe. I guess I gotta get ready to tap or pass out.
I mean, sometimes for me, if I start feeling overwhelmed, I just start shutting down, and I'll actually just like become less reactive, and I'm trying to just like slow my heart rate, slow my breathing, like let's calm down, let's get it together. Just don't tap because you're freaking out.
Yes.
It's like just all you have to do is just keep going.
It's one of those things where, and I do the same thing, where you get caught in a bad position maybe,
but not bad enough to tap you.
But not bad enough, and then so what you do is you have to not go limp, but you have to stop. And just kind of be patient.
Well, it's also tricky because like some parts you can't let go limp. Like if you're in a triangle, you can't just relax. You really throw this across, but you still have to you want to maintain structure while at the same time not trying to wig out, because you're not going to make it any better by just.
Well, getting all stiff. There's always there's a point where you get caught in whatever you do. If the person's good and you messed up, you're going to get caught. Right? And that's it.
But you should fight to the bitter end.
But sometimes, you can actually do like the little loosey, right? Where you're like super strong and rigid, and then you just kind of loosey out of there.
But when it doesn't work, it's real bad.
Well, then you're gonna get hurt. But I think that's better than trying to rip out. Right? Some people are good at that, and they're built like tanks. But for me, it's always better to be kind of just relax out of things. When the moment is correct, right? And that's where the judgment and the experience comes in. And you're gonna get caught. Sometimes you're not gonna be able to loosen your way out or bull your way out. The other way is to drive forward as hard as you can, stack the person as best you can.
And sometimes that'll work if you're, you know, a big, strong, explosive person. That could work. That's a viable strategy.
I don't like it when people because people will not move, and then all of a sudden they're like as fast.
You're gonna get hurt. Eventually, there's one guy that I heard that did that with me, and he was like all relaxed, and then he tried to rip out really fast, hard, and
I don't want to get hit in the face. My sister used to do that. Like her armbar escape was just limp arm and
and back face you.
Yeah. And
Oh, that's a classic. That's a tap, right? Tap to the face.
So annoying.
The backhand.
But I mean, it worked every once in a while because it should hit you in the face and it'd be like, oh fuck, and then you lose the arm.
What happens is eventually, though, people
Yeah.
will rip your arm off.
Yeah.
Because they're sick and tired of getting.
Well, that's the thing. Like for me, if I'm armbarring someone, like I try and take a good pace. But if you start like moving super
Thrashing
fast, like
around.
I'm gonna move super fast because that's how I gotta keep you in that place.
Yeah.
And you know, I try not to crank it, but it's gonna be fast getting there. You know.
That's the other thing that people need to understand is, you know, if you're going to be, thrashing around and I mean, that's when you get hurt, right? Like if I'm on the bottom or I'm finishing or in a position to finish or in a good position, and then you just start going
Chaos.
ape shit underneath me. Well, then at that moment, I'm probably going to be thinking like, I need to protect myself. And protecting myself means making you tap out.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's a balance to it as an instructor. Like, I definitely give people a lot of leeway.
well, but that's part of the thing is like, you know, like I can feel people more often than not get into that panic mode or into that like, I'm going to do something stupid mode. And, you know, as an instructor, more often than not, I'll probably let them out or I'll do something that will kind of not let them do that at all.
Yeah.
But,
Well, that was the follow concept we were talking about, right? Like, give them a little place to go, right?
And they'll
like,
go there.
And they'll go.
and John was the master of that. John would always have, it would be the light, you know, he'd give you one way out.
Mhm.
And then that was just the train, you know, like it was just you go to the light and then just smash, and then you give you another little ray of light, and then you go to that light and you get smashed in there too. But there was never a moment with John where you thought like, oh yeah, now I'm gonna just like blow out of here.
It's like, well, because what's weird about that is I'm afraid of discouraging people from taking good opportunities. And what I've noticed is, as an instructor, when I roll with students, a lot of people are afraid to do anything, even
Yes.
when the opportunity
Yes.
is real.
Yeah.
So I don't want to discourage people from moving by like punishing them when they do move, but at the same time, like I do. So it's a weird balance between developing your partner and doing good jiu-jitsu. But I don't know, it's fun. There was no real point to that, but
It's all good. All right, good stuff. Thank you,
Thank you.
Monoplata.
Monoplata.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Smashing.